Years ago, life for us was very different from where we find ourselves today. We were not accepted for who we are. Not in our neighborhoods, not in our workplaces, and not even in our families. We had no legal protections. Our opportunities were limited, and our personal rights were ignored.
Growing up and wanting to get married as an adult and knowing that I was not able to do so made me feel like
Less than.
Yeah.
I think most of us just want to be accepted. And so when you continue to face barriers to what feel like acceptance, you're banging your head against the wall a lot. Like, why can't I get married to somebody I love?
My father came across a conversion therapist who explained to him that there is no such thing as homosexuality. And me loving and trusting my father, I began conversion therapy. I was instructed immediately to only spend time with the males in my life. But what that really looked like was me not speaking to my mother and two sisters for 3 years. I saw myself getting depressed. All of my teachers noticed that I was a straight A student who was not showing up to class ever. Conversion therapy really had a massive impact on my life.
Being who I was, it just seemed natural to be playing sports and dealing with the world as a boy, and yet at the same time have an interest in trying to figure out what it felt like to be a girl. I really assumed that I was God's mistake.
I believed the myth that homosexuality made me bad, made me wrong in the world. In fact, I believed that I had been cursed. I tested positive in '92, at which point an HIV diagnosis was still deemed an automatic death sentence.
Today, we are all in a better place. A better place because of the efforts of our leaders, and because we live in a state where so many of our freedoms have been recognized and protected. Today, we can be who we are, whether living here, working here, or visiting here, because we are here in New York State.
I do think that, I'll speak for all queer people, we are a resilient people. And so you can't live every day angry that you're not being equally treated. In 2011 in New York, it just passed. I would say our wedding was awesome, but also being able to get fully glammed. And I remember going wedding dress shopping and the shop attendant being like, your husband's gonna love this. I was like, my wife will love it even more.
It is in New York that I found mental health supports, social welfare supports, supports that have now been interwoven within policies.
The Gender Expression Non-Discrimination Act was a major point for our community. It means that we could not be discriminated against if we went to a restaurant and were told, we don't serve you, or have a service of a lawyer, or a ride in a taxi cab.
Now that New York has passed laws to protect LGBTQ youth from conversion therapy, it's saving lives. Knowing that my government is there to protect me changes everything.
This year, 50 years after the Stonewall Uprising, the whole world gathers in New York to celebrate World Pride. It is a time to remember how far we've come, to continue our critical struggle, and to honor those in New York State who led the fight for freedom, more liberty, and more rights for all of us. World Pride comes to New York. Join us here and see why everybody loves New York.